I'll be with you in 1 second. Okay, I think we're just about there. Just gonna get the Telegram started. Good morning. Good morning, Europe. I hope you're well. It's Monday, the 3rd of March, 2025, and the European markets have opened just a few seconds ago. Well, a minute ago or so. So it's Monday, and I don't know if you saw this, but I think it's certainly worthwhile pointing out. We saw a tremendous turnaround on the hourly chart. On Friday in America. And it's always interesting for me when the market makes a new low, which it did right there by, I don't know, 10 ticks in the Dow, which, let's face it, is nothing. Not sure. I think it did it as well in the Nasdaq. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it did. So it made a new low and then a massive reversal. And so that's often associated with a significant low. You see it on the daily chart as well. So today, if we get a close above Friday's low, that will technically set in motion a move towards new highs. So this is what it looks like on a weekly chart in the Nasdaq. And this is the same picture in the Dow. Dow obviously making a significantly higher low, and the Nasdaq just making a fake new low. Okay, so I spent most of the weekend either writing messages to people who disagreed with my point of view over the meeting in the White House on Friday. And while I don't want my channel to become politically orientated, I just don't have the mental bandwidth for that, nor do I have the political gravitas or substance. I have the human substance. That's not what this channel is about. That's not an apology, because I feel very strongly what I wrote. I feel very strongly about it, which I think is why it's gonna stand. I won't delete the messages. And I had some people who were very vocal about my message, and I welcome that. It would be foolish to think that you're the only one who has all the answers. So, okay. So really, really decent rally of 100 points already in the DAX, challenging the high of the overnight range. Now, talking of the overnight range, Unfortunately, I was unable to finish the work that I wanted to finish over the weekend because it was just the sheer volume of it. It's not automated. I do it manually. And so the sheer volume of looking at all of that information meant that I couldn't create a review of the month of February from a trading point perspective. And as a result of it, that work is going to knock on into this week. Whether I get it done today or not, I don't know. I only just started yesterday doing the review of the American markets, and they are also incredibly important to my performance. And this is the kind of work that I don't want to haste. And so eventually all the content will be published. Last night I posted some messages on Telegram where I tried to explain my hypothesis in the DAX. So if you're not a member of my channel, you probably don't know what that is, but I can show you here. So the conventional theory of school run would dictate that once you have the school run bar, which is this bar here, this bar here is the second 15-minute bar. And conventional school run will dictate that we want to be buyers above and we want to be sellers below. And that hypothesis has really served my trading well. However, as part of any normal process, which is the review process. Hang on, I'm mindful that the FTSE, I think, has just given a first bar positive sell signal. I don't know if you know this, but first bar positive has not performed well. So I'm just gonna see if I can. Okay, I'm executing a short here. I'm just gonna post that. So this signal that I've executed here is called a first bar positive. And I am extremely mindful that first bar positive, the last two signals, have failed to produce anything. And that it would have been better to be a buyer below. I'm extremely mindful of that. And yet here I am short following the signal. Don't know if you see this, but the FTSE actually also just filled the gap. So this bodes extremely poorly for my position, annoyingly. So going back to, just bear with me 1 sec. There you go. Should be back. Let's go back to the school run theory. So the second message I posted on Telegram over the weekend was this one here. And so what that says is, okay, we have this hypothesis that we're seeing here, but how does that factor into the overnight range? If I'd been really smart, I would have actually just done something slightly different. 1 second. That's better. How would this theory factor in if we take in the overnight range? If we factor that into the equation? And so on the merit of that, I tried or tested a new idea. That new idea being what if we say if the school run bar takes place within the overnight range, then instead of buying as we would normally, we sell short. And instead of selling short below, as we would on normal school run theory, we buy. So that's the new theory. And I've traded that several times live on YouTube, but also for myself. But what was most encouraging about the performance was that I'm just going to grab a piece of paper. 1 second. So all of this, of course, is going to be in the video that I intend to post. But when I looked at the DAX over the month of February, I noticed that there were a total of 13 occurrences where the school run bar took place inside the overnight range. And if I used the new theory, I would have 8 winners and 3 losers. Now, the implication of that is really quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because what that implies is that I would have had 8 losers and 3 winners had I used the conventional. Because the difference between these two here is that on a traditional school run, I'd buy above and I sell short below. But the new hypothesis says you sell short above and you buy below. And so if I've had 13 occurrences, of which it triggers 8 sell short or buy below, when there stands to reason that I had followed conventional theory, they would have been losing trades, or at least gone significantly against me. As I go through the material with you later in the week when I post the video, you'll also see that there are cases where you actually generally have to make a call. It's really marginal. It's generally really marginal. And then if we then take this one step further, don't worry, I have many screens, so I'm following what's going on, but on another screen. So how does this new hypothesis then change if we are trading above the overnight range? Well, conventional theory will kick in here as normal. You'll be a buyer above the school run bar. And over the month of February, we had 7 occurrences where the school run triggered above or below the range. And out of those 7, you had and that's where it becomes a little bit marginal, because there are times where you're thinking, right, it triggers a buy above the trading range, but actually the sell is inside the range, and you sort of have to make a call. Just wanted to show you, I think the DAX is pretty close to a buy signal below 22,670. So please stand by for that. I'm buying, I don't think I got the best fill here. One second. Wow, it's really quite weak. 22,674, that was not a good fill. The reason why I bought the DAX here is because I wanted to be a buyer below the first negative bar, which just takes place here and is inside the range. But my God, this is actually, the DAX is really surprising me. It's really rather weak, and I'm losing. So I'm losing on both. All right, well, I'll keep an eye on it. Let's get back to, so when school run takes place above the overnight range, I want to be a buyer above, but I also want to be a buyer below, as long as school run takes place still outside the overnight range. And that's where it gets a little tricky, because there'll be times when this school run here is marginally inside the overnight range, and so you have to make a call. Do you sell it short, like conventional theory would dictate, or do you follow new theory where you buy below? And because it is marginal, sometimes the overnight range is, say, tops at 60, and then the market triggers a signal at 58, and you can, or is that inside the range, or is it just sort of marginally inside the range? And that's where it gets tricky. And if we then look at the next piece of the evidence, which is obviously its opposite, where we are trading below the inside range. Below the inside range, and it looks like this. So now the hypothesis says that if you trigger a school run, but it takes place below the overnight range, now I want to be a seller above the school run bar, and I want to be a buyer. I want to be a seller, and I want to sell short as I normally would. So conventional theory was fine, but the new dimension here is, no, I actually want to sell short above. And that produced some really, really good trades last month by following this hypothesis. But there was also one occasion on the buy side here where you would have bought here, and had you followed conventional theory, you would have caught a really big move down. Instead, you just got stopped out on your buy. So I think it's impossible to invent a trading approach that ticks all boxes. But the school run has proven itself to be a really reliable approach. However, I didn't want to, shall we say, just rest on my laurels. I wanted to make sure that I didn't just trade something blindly without reviewing, auditing. I'm not trying to, I don't think I'm not curve fitting, but I am attempting to learn from what the market is telling me and by bringing in new dimensions. And it may be that in months' time, it's not the overnight range that I will have found. Maybe it's a whole new dimension. Maybe it's something to do with the day of the week. Maybe it will have something to do with how does the first bar looks in context with the second bar. So the first 15 minutes. So the school run is a focus on the second 15-minute bar. But maybe in the time to come, it will be a reflection of I did this because of how the first and the second bar interacted with each other. Excuse me. So here's status. My FTSE position is not looking very well. DAX is rapidly improving. 1 minute break. So I was just, I needed to find a pen. Oh, bollocks, this one doesn't work. One sec. Don't you just love when you have a cup full of pens and pencils and they don't work? So for a second there, it looked quite good on the DAX, but sellers are coming in again. Okay, so we got about 5 minutes left before the school run bar, and my position is looking shit. And I'm just about to be stopped out. Oh, that's a big loss. Here's the closing price from Friday. So there's no doubt that if we were to close here, we are trading below the range. And as a result, we would take a normal school run short if it got breached. So the DAX has filled the gap. That's what's happened. So in about 30 seconds, we will have completed the second 15-minute bar. US has gone into negative. I'm shorting the Dow. Sorry, I'm shorting the I'm shorting the DAX as it's triggered. Trigger a school run below the overnight range. Ooh, I hope this doesn't reverse from here. I'm shorting the FTSE, doubling up. This is how my positions are looking now. I'm gonna move the stop loss in the FTSE. FTSE closed at 8809. Maybe that's a good target. Dow still holding the overnight range. So is the Nasdaq. While the DAX is trading below the overnight range. The FTSE seems to, yeah, it's trading below the overnight range. DAX is reversing into the body of the first of the school run candle. That's not so good. So the DAX is trading back into the range, and the FTSE is actually now combined losing me. So the FTSE went below the overnight range and is now trading back into the range. And my second position is losing, and the first position is just about breaking even. That's generally not what you want to see when you are short. A big old bar down here. Damn. Shit. So I'm afraid I'm losing on both. So big. It's hard to see how this is going to turn around now. I've stopped out of the first footsie. I'm going to leave the stop loss in place. I think I'm going to get myself a good old walloping this morning. Stopped out of DAX. And I'm going to be stopped out of the footsie now. All right. That was a big loss. Let's have a look. Oops. Damn. Well, I don't think I need to provide a running commentary because you saw it for yourself. What happened? You may want to know or ask me, were you tempted to take profit? There was a point down here where I could have recovered everything that I lost on the initial DAX position. My FTSE was in profit by about 200 and the DAX was in profit by approximately 20 odd points. And yes, of course, I did feel an emotion. I know I did. But in the FTSE, I said to myself, the DAX filled the gap. I wonder if the FTSE is going to do the same. And that would have made another 10 points at double size. That to me felt compelling. So after a loss like this, I think I'll just step aside, because I don't want to be trading on emotions. It's okay, this is not my morning. That hurt. So I'm going to write this up, and I'll be back for the US session later. Damn, that was a shit morning. Okay, that's what happens at times. Thanks a lot for being here and witnessing this. Would I have done anything different? Not really. Maybe move the stop loss a little tighter on the FTSE. I felt it was tight enough, but clearly it wasn't. I actually based my stop loss on having it above the 10-minute bar at the time, but that wasn't enough. Annoyingly. All right, so thanks a lot for being here. I'll be back for the US session. I'm gonna just retreat and recover. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.